This is the University of New Haven's Career Development Center online resume tutorial. To begin writing your resume, we need to start by looking at this 30,000-foot view. A resume is not a business form. It is a marketing document designed to sell you strategically to an employer. Your resume is for a very specific audience, an employer in your intended field. Your resume must speak to them, showing them what you offer for their needs. Your resume needs to focus on 5 specific things: skills, experiences, traits, the value you bring, and outcomes from your work. These 5 aspects are what employers want to know from you, so your resume needs to tell your story of what you can do, what you have done, who you are, why you would succeed, and that you can produce results. This needs to be done in a format that is neat, clean, able to survive a quick visual scan, and be perfect. This is done by creating these various section headings that organize your resume effectively and make the page look clean and easy to read. You should choose a standard font size and a professional looking font. You do your absolute best to keep it to 1 page. If it goes over, be sure to really need that additional information. Keep your spacing consistent and line up your headings and content to keep straight linear lines down the page. This means the resume is very easy to read. As in marketing, you are selling a product. You are selling yourself to an employer. You need to understand and target your audience and entice them into wanting to meet with you in an interview. Now let's begin to look at this resume section by section and put the marketing strategy to work. At the top of your resume is your name heading. This is obvious, but needs to include your name, address, phone, and email. You can use a dual address setup as we have here, or just put one address. Make sure your phone number and email are easy to read here in the center of the page, and that make sure your phone voice message and your email account project a professional image. The summary of qualifications is exactly that. 2 to 3 sentences that give an overview of what you are about. Think of this as the table setter. You're going to show an employer in your resume all of this that they read about you in your summary. As a college student, your education section would go first. This is what defines you and is your full-time job, so to speak. You need to include relevant information like the school, the location, the degree you're going for, your graduation date, minors, and concentrations. Make sure your GPA is easy to find, and basically if it's above a 3, put it on there. If it's below a 3, you leave it off. Do not use extra or weak language such as anticipated or expected graduation, currently pursuing, or anything like this. This is unnecessary and just takes up room. You can also include other information such as dean's lists, scholarships, and maybe even 3 to 6 relevant courses related to your course of study. You do not need to put your high school. If you transferred but didn't receive a previous degree, you can leave that school off. If you have another degree, include that below University of New Haven in the same format you see here. You can also include certificates, study abroad, or other such education here as well. As we pull back again, we see how the top third, the name heading, the summary, and the education section appear on the resume as a whole. Thus far, we have provided a lot of information about our skills, experience, and background, and who we are, in very little space at the top third of the resume. Now we get into the real meat of the resume, the experience section. This is probably the most important and least fun part of the resume, describing our experiences. First, list the organization you interned or worked for along with the location, dates of employment, and your title. Don't list the physical address, the supervisor's name, or other contact information. When writing your resume, focus on this type of sentence structure. Action plus results/outcomes equals skills. This structure is one sentence with 2 parts that will showcase your abilities. Action is the task you performed. You start with an action verb and include the responsibility at your job. The result is the how, the why, or what you did to achieve this action. So watch, this highlighted section shows us the action, and then the full statement shows us how we did that particular action. So we consulted with clients on all of these various aspects. Taken together, this whole sentence becomes a skill and not just a task that somebody told you to do. The ultimate key here is to show what you are capable of. Don't just tell them what you did, show them how you did it and that it was successful. Focus your writing on the skills you bring and the outcomes you created, more than just rewriting your job description. This is how you actively speak to an employer and market yourself for the job. Remember, employers are trying to determine 5 things from you: skills, experience, traits, value add, and outcomes. This writing structure allows you to showcase these 5 aspects to the employer and will match your abilities with the position you seek. Make an employer's job easier. Show them what you can do. As we pull back again, we see how this section fits into the resume as a whole. At this point, we are most of the way done and have now really sold ourselves for the position. We have directly targeted those skills, those experiences, traits, value added, and outcomes. Let's move on to the last part of the resume. The bottom third of the resume is now supportive information. This is not necessarily the most important information, but is additional information that showcases your qualifications for the job. The specific section headings will vary depending on your experiences. Here we have put computer and design skills, as they are important and relevant in this role that we've been using. In this resume, they support the education and the internship experiences posted above. We have also listed campus activities, focusing on ones related to the job in which we are applying. Again, we are selling, so we want to include information that is relevant. Other information you may include here could include volunteer experiences, community organizations, and things like that. You do not need to put your hobbies or that references are available on request. Employers already know they are. Make sure you don't hide any really relevant or marketable skills and qualifications down here, such as language skills or other specific skills related to the job in which you're applying. Remember, these sections we have here are only examples, so use them and change them as needed for you. So now we look at this resume again as a whole, and we can see how the bottom third fits in and fits into the bottom of this page nicely, neatly, and matches the rest of the resume. This resume is constructed in a manner that is organized, neat, easy to read, and selling you to the employer. Most importantly, is formatted top to bottom in a way that is selling, selling, selling. An employer who reads this will want to move on to the next step, which is an interview. We hope this was helpful in getting you started. Once you have made your first draft, definitely have it reviewed by our professional staff in the UNH Career Development Center.